Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Care Managers Inner Circle. Once again, my name is Jonathan and we are here, of course, with Book Week. What a fantastic book week. And tonight we've got, there's no surprises and certainly no great, this is one guy who I think a lot of people know and recognize. And it's an absolute delight to have. And here he is. Let me bring him in. Big Ian, my friend. Good to see you.
How funny lad? How are you? Good to see you.
It is. I have missed you, big fella. I have proper missed you.
I'll tell you what. I think we've missed ourselves as well. I think you know what I mean. We've missed absolutely everyone. But it's not going to be long now. We're going to be back at conferences together, back at events together. And I've threatened to come over to your place and get in the back of that rickshaw and really get a sweat on you. That would be great.
Mate, I tell you what, that would be brilliant, and it'd be lovely to see you, mate. Your room's proper posh. This is the
house I live in is called the White House. Yeah, the house I live in is called the White House, and if you look around here, hold on, let me just in the corner is a thing of a picture of York Minster, done by my friend Alfie Joy. And there you go. And just to show how vulgar I am, it's got the biggest telly in the world. Biggest telly in the world. And we have a big wraparound sofa that seats 15. And this room is so big and set up for people and everything. My wife actually calls it the Tyson Fury suite. She says it's just so with a big, massive, like we've got a 70-odd inch. Seriously, I went to watch the Elton John film Rocket Man at the Pictures, and I didn't enjoy it. Then I came and watched it on the telly at home, and I did. And as I said to my wife, I obviously needed to see it on a big screen. Honestly, the things I get away with. So this house. We live in the centre of York. We've been here 20 years, and we bought this house when we were both pretty young. And we put in an offer for 70 grand less than they wanted. And I just said, I'm a poor school teacher. I want to bring up my kids here. And they said, yes. And I now live in this lovely house and it's mint. And I just walk into town. We walk to the Minster, wherever we want to go. Honestly, it's like every day is like a school trip living here. It's like a school trip. Hey, by the way, I've come set up for an interview. I've got a big bottle of zero sugar Fanta. That's how rock and roll I am.
I always knew you were posh, mate.
Mate, dead posh. Everybody said, "Oh, he's so posh, isn't he? So posh."
Mate, it is great to see you. And what have you been doing? Because I mean, we were on stage. I think we were going back about 2 years ago now. I think it was the Kerr show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Kerr show. In fact, no, there was the event in where you picked me up from the train station.
Was that?
Yeah, it might. And then we ended up doing a double gig.
That was
where
cool.
you did.
That was cool.
That was
healthcare care homes. It was for Helen Gidlow, and that was a mint set. We had a great time, and it was beautiful. Yeah, really nice. Yeah,
it was.
There was a couple of blocks from sort of halfway up north, and then properly up north. There we are, right down south, and we absolutely blew the doors off. It was great. We had it.
I really enjoyed that, mate. And but that seems to be there's an age. So the rest of us went into lockdown. Let me just get this right. So we all hunkered down. I mean, of course, some of us were hunkered down into care homes. You hunkered down and then bashed out another book.
Well, I did. Do you know what? I suddenly realised that all the ink had dropped out of my diary. All of the ink had just dripped away. We'd just done Night to Remember at the York Barbican.
Yeah.
I had a diary full of gigs. I had a diary full of band gigs. I had a diary full of talks. I had a diary full of everything. I was hosting events. I was doing award ceremonies. I had a year like that. You just couldn't believe. I thought, this is going to be great. I cannot wait. Absolute in the center of the racket. And then they basically said, and by the way, unfortunately, the world has now stopped. Now, I've got to be honest. I loved having an empty diary.
Yeah.
I've never had an empty diary. I've always been a year in advance. I started doing music when I was 18, and that means you book gigs for now and then for months ahead and then a year ahead and all this sort of thing. I always thought if I ever gave up singing, when do I do it? Do I do it now and stop booking for then, or but then I've got my bookings today? I don't know how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? The only real obvious way to get out of it is by doing a Tommy Cooper, where you basically one night you just fall back into the curtain. But not having the events in the diary for a while felt wonderful, where you could just go out and listen to the birds, and nobody wanted me for anything. Everyone says, or people are attention seekers and they want this and they want that. Do you know what? Nah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I've never had peace and quiet in my entire life. And I had peace and quiet. So I had the garden all done up by our roadie with the band. It was a brilliant, like, craftsman with wood. And I said, all right, I've got no gigs for you. Do you fancy doing my garden up? He went, I no bother. And he did an amazing job. And so created an outdoor office for me to write a book. And so I did that, and I played a lot of guitar. I watched all of Spooks, all of Game of Thrones, all of Mad Men. Basically, I became a bit of a couch potato. Then for a while, I wasn't able to walk because I had sciatica and a trapped nerve. And I basically had like a wooden leg. It was awful for about 10 months. And I sort of did my own physio, because as the older you get, as you know, right, because you're not as young as that hairpiece suggests. And the older you get, the more you understand your physical geography. You know where pain is, and you can pinpoint pain and stuff like that. And so I did my own kind of physio, and I thought, right, that isn't working. I'll try something else. That isn't working. And to the point where now I can be walking 20 miles a day, and I've dropped down to a 16 stone 4, if you will, a geisha. So
you do look great.
Well, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. And it's just, do you know what? I got my values out there. During lockdown, I said to Em, I said, I'm going to focus on my values here, because my values are going to look after me, and they're going to look after me mates, and they're going to look after people who know me, right, and need me. And I did a lot of that. And I was on the phone to a lot of people, just sort of this little circle of trust sort of thing, just mates who needed you. Because there's two groups of people. There's the people who need help and the people who help. And very rarely do the people who help need help, but occasionally we maybe do. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed connecting with people and talking to people. And I realized you don't really need to be in the same room with somebody to get that fix of their company. And I loved that fix. I really did. And so I'd go out for a walk and I'd talk to a few of my mates, and I'd just catch up on people and see how they're getting on. And it was just a lovely thing. And we kept each other right. And there were some people down the street. The old bloke who lived down the street wasn't the old bloke who lived down the street. He was George. And then he was George who got his pilot's license in 1968. Then he was George who nearly died in 1975. Then he was George who was married twice. And then he was George who then had children in his 30s. And then he became a dad again when he was 54. Then he was George who has 2 fantastic motorbikes that he still likes to ride at 81. And he was George who says, "Bah, goodness me, have you heard that new single by such and such a band?" And you just think, "George, you don't really listen to that." He went, "Oh, yes, I listen to Radio 6 all the time." And we got to know one another. And it just felt like going back in time. And I can't help thinking this lockdown thing wasn't that bad an idea. And if I had a magic wand, I would say this: we should have a week each year called Lockdown Week. I think we should lock down for a week every year. Because, do you know, it gives you a chance to stop, think, and thank. It gives you a chance to realize how fast you're going. And I think that, you know, all these stupid things that are celebrated, that people take days off for, and you just think, you know, I just can't help thinking, let's have lockdown week.
I do think people are more considerate and more patient now. Maybe it's my rosy glasses that I
well,
view
you
them
maybe.
rosy.
Well, the thing is, the pandemic of stupidity and ignorance is still out there. And selfishness and me. Shall I just get mine first? Thank you. But I think people have realised how little they need. I certainly realised that, and you realise that the little things are the big things. I know it sounds silly, but every Friday night, because I don't think anybody did a long lockdown. We did it in little sections, right? If somebody had said to us, back in May 2020, oh, by the way, the world ain't going to be right for another 18 months, I think people have been jumping like lemmings off the cliff. But we weren't, because we did it like a week at a time, a fortnight at a time, or whatever. And on a Friday night, me and the kids, we used to sit and watch Gogglebox, right?
It's great. I love it.
And you know what? Gogglebox just was like a little flagpole every week that went, we've got through another week. And then how shall we reward ourselves? And then that would be Saturday night, where you get a big takeaway and you say, right, who's choosing takeaways tonight? And that's what it would be. And that just got us. And I'll tell you now, time was going quick, because some weeks I noticed had about 3 Saturdays. Everything just kept going fast. The world kept spinning. And, people say when, time flies when you're having fun, but time was flying when we were doing nout. It was going quickly. So, and then what I did was I went in the garden and I started writing a book. I started writing a couple of stories.
Is that writing a book?
Yeah, as you do. Do you know what? I've got one. So there's 2 of them that have been sold to somebody. No, so I started writing.
Hey, this is right. This is right. Have you seen how much this guy wrote in mine?
I tell you what, can you hold that up close? No, you read it, because I tell you what, I meant no. Right, now you read it, because I can't. You read that, because I meant every
Jonathan, thank you for your invaluable work you've done with all the Inner Circle members, the unique way you run your homes. You're a fantastic ukulele player and singer. You've got a dreadful singer, Big Ian Donaghy.
I'll tell you what, fella. During
That's
lockdown,
lovely.
Well, during lockdown, when I saw the stuff you were doing, I thought, well, that's a good use of him. That's a great use of him. And it's it's a case of, to use a military thing, but cometh the hour, and there you were. You were a top man. And I thought it was beautiful, the things that you were doing. And as I said earlier, there are those who need help and those that have been put here to help. And you were put here to help. And a lot of people really benefited from that help. And I think many people will remember how we behaved during this time. And so the people who behaved selfishly had some short-term gains, but they're going to have some long-term losses. But guys who, got into the doghouse with their wives because they were doing these broadcasts every night and stuff like that, right? People won't forget that. And I think it's top draw. And I think people need to look at it another way and think, that's another hour of pace she's had. So that's got to be a good thing. So these stories, I started writing these stories for this pocket full of kindness. And
because there's so many of them. I mean, there's so.
And I'll tell you what, and they're all things that have happened to me. They're all things that have happened to me and my mates. And I think
anyone who's ever seen this, it's just little stories, just beautiful little stories. There's a lot of words in here, mate.
There is. I use some of them more than once, though. I've found that you can use them more than once, some of them. But what we did, I made sure it's got pictures on every sort of page.
Definitely, yeah.
And these are, they're just a lovely thing, because I thought, well, when you're a kid, you like pictures in books. Why would you take them out? So I did that, and each story is about how an act of kindness, or how somebody was, by giving you their time or their belief or whatever, has transformed your life. And I've had loads of people do this for me. I've had loads of people who've seen something in me, and that's why I'm having the life that some consider a myth now, because it's this. A lot of the things I dreamt of doing as a kid, I do. This Sunday, I'm playing with my band at York Balloon Fiesta. I'm probably going to do about 10,000 people on Sunday night. 10,000 people. So it's ridiculous. and all the stuff I do, and I make films, and I meet cool people, and it's just great. And so the Pocketful of Kindness thing, I started writing once. The first story I wrote was a story about Sir Bobby Robson and my dad.
Yeah.
And I sent it to my mate Charles Hutchison, who was a journalist in York, brilliant journalist and arts critic guy. And I sent it to him because I thought it would entertain him. And he sent us back. He said, "Wow, that's beautiful." And he says, "You have scant regard for punctuation and grammar." I went, "Correct." I know it's true, because the thing is, I've been writing all the time for myself. I was a maths teacher. I wasn't doing English. Do you know what I mean? When I was teaching, I was doing learning disabilities, which is the really basic stuff of you building blocks of education. But I certainly wasn't using semicolons. Goodness me.
No,
So he edited it. And then I said, "Right, I'm going to send you another story." So I wrote another story. And then I wrote another story. And he came back and he went, "God, these are great. These are great." And he went, "How many of these have you got?" I said, "I have no idea. I just come in my garden. I just sort of put some music on. I just write." And he went, "Keep writing them. Let's turn this into a book. I'll edit this book for Nout."
Wow.
Now, and so I think I did about 70 stories or something like that. Now, since then, this book has been given to just about everybody. Like in the world of care, loads of people have bought it for all of their team. This week, an organisation called CAHSC in Cornwall, Beverly Footed, and a wonderful team, she's given out 500 copies of this book to care.
Well, I saw your video, your brilliant video. It was like a time-lapse video of you in your desk with them slowly stacking up. It was just brilliant. Absolutely.
Well, the thing is, that was it. So 500 books, and that's a decent order. But I got others where people say, "We'd like 1,000 for all of our employees in this company, an engineering company." Then somebody else said, "Right, we want them to take these to Canada," and I've had them all, so they're like bespoke, so they have like logos on and stuff like that. I've had care companies, I've had building companies, Savista, which is Avnish Goyal's building company there. They got a load, they've got a couple of hundred, all this sort of thing. And people were getting them, legal companies, and then, organizations, charities were doing it, and then they wanted to spread the word. One of the stories featured in the book is about the Jordan legacy, which is about a gentleman called Steve Phillip who lost his son to suicide and set up this anti-suicide prevention thing. And I have to say, it's gone daft. And I don't even remember writing it. I honestly believe it was given to us. It was me past helping me present and me future. And it all came about because normally my head is busy doing loads of things. It's like a Swiss Army knife, pulling the blades all the time, looking for the fork and the spoon and the nail file and all that sort of thing. Because I've never been particularly good at one thing. I've been pretty all right at a lot of things. And suddenly I had the time that thought, do you know what? Do us a favour, Bonnie lad. Do one thing half decent. So I put this book together and I wrote it in no time. No time. When we get onto one of the other books, I'll tell you all about.
I mean, go on. So how long did it take? How long did it take you?
Right, I started that in March, right, and I just found it really easy, really easy. And I just wrote down. I just thought, right, blah, 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 and I start writing a story, and then when it bores me, right, I jump off it and I start writing another, and it's kind of like it's really odd. I don't write them as that, and I go back and I make them better, make them better. So by the time he gets to edit them, they've kind of been edited by me. So he has to do a sort of finer editing than that, apart from the punctuation with a K. So this I started in the April. This was published in the August, and it's a big book. It's a big book.
Oh yeah. And you were saying, you haven't been seduced by Amazon, you haven't been seduced by the publishing houses. So how would you go about? Do you just find someone to publish it?
Right. One of my mates, who was a businessman, he says, right, do us a favor, get all those orders on Amazon. You'll be a bestseller on Amazon, and you'll have all of that, and then that'll get you loads more sales, because you'll be a best-selling thing. Do you know what? I don't know anybody on LinkedIn who isn't a best-selling author on Amazon. Right? Can't be honest. I don't need that vanity. I don't need it. So I published a book with a publisher once, and that was a nice idea, and it worked out all right for a while. It's been used as a skeleton key, and I'll get to it later. But now that book is no longer in the publisher's hands, and it's in my hands. And that means if I want to give that book away, I can give that book away.
Okay, yeah.
And if I want to sell that book, I can sell that book, and I make all the money off it. So it's all me that went into it. So it's all me that gets out of it. See, these people say, "Oh, I've got to publish it with so and so, with so and so, with so and so." Great, well done. But do you know what? They have no interest in you. They have no care in you, right? All they're interested in is the coin, right? They're not interested in anything else. So what happens is, I've done these books, and it's me and my mate Chris the printer, and I'll get to Chris the printer. Ask me later, because he is a very special man. So I've got one designer.
Yeah.
I've got my editor, Charles, right? And then I've got my printer. And my printer does my distribution. He does me different covers. He does all manner of stuff. I've been on to him. The guy's an absolute diamond, and he's got a printing set up just out about 2 miles from my house, and it's him, another woman, and a dog in the print shop. And during lockdown, I kept him very busy. Thousands of books got printed, and he's had to buy some new gear and stuff like that. He's been made in heaven, and that's all you need. All you need is a handful of diamonds in your team, and you'll know this. You'll know this in care. You'll know this.
Yeah. It's like,
you don't need all the guys knowing you and everything is that. You need a handful of diamonds, and that handful of diamonds makes everything else happen. And that's what I've got in my life. I've got a handful of diamonds, and that's.
And the other books, you did mention The Missing Piece, because they're also equally well known. I know that this one has been the latest one, but your first one was The Missing Piece, wasn't it?
No, first one was Dementia. Which came about. Everyone says, "Oh, there must have been a really good reason for that real heartfelt reason for you to write that." And I went, "Yes." It got to January, and I'd just really become self-employed, and I suddenly realised I haven't booked any work in for January, and so I had no work. So I thought, right, what do I do? And then I'd done these things on Twitter. One of my friends, Meg Burton, told me to get on Twitter. I went, "That's a stupid idea." I got on Twitter, and it's gone daft for care work for me. Yeah. And so I started writing these things on Twitter. Dear Dementia, Nana forgets, so I remember. And I wrote these little things to Dementia every day. Dear Dementia. I would write different things and say, "Dear Dementia, Weetabix Monday, Weetabix Tuesday, Weetabix Wednesday, Weetabix Thursday, Weetabix every bloody day.
Yeah.
Is Weetabix a cure for you? I wish I'd never told them I liked Weetabix." And that's where just never ask. They just think, "Oh, she likes Weetabix. She likes it, and never asks on another day." And our tastes change. And then, so all these things, and I made this, and so it was the same size as a Mr. Man book. I'm having to show you this because I don't have one. I haven't got one in the house. Seriously, I haven't got one in the house. Actually, Chris, my printer, was going to drop one off. Hold on. Do you know? I'm going to check to see if he's dropped one off. Wait there. He said he dropped one off. I said, "I haven't got one."
So there you go, folks. We were interviewing Ian this evening, but so tonight, for those of you just joined us, we are here in the White House.
We are here live. Right, we brought a box. He's brought a box. Hold on, let's see what's in the box. I said just leave it in the porch, so he did. Hold on, let's see what we got. Oh,
right. We're wrapping this up in 5 minutes, Ian. All right.
So there's one of my bespoke Dear Dementias, and these are the same size as Mr. Man book, right? And it's got whatchamacallit inside, a forward done by Angela Rippon, if you will. Angela Rippon was at the launch of the book in 1994, my birthday, June the 16th. And she's a big supporter of this, and she's used this book all over. And the whole idea is it's a simple picture book.
With
a few words on each page. And 3 hospitals have had wards designed using these images, right? And one of them's won awards and everything. And this book is on the Books on Prescription Read Well list, right? By the Alzheimer's Society. 25 books in the world. You can go to a doctor. You can be prescribed to read that book. Isn't that crazy?
That's
it's in every library, and it's been translated into Welsh. It's in every Welsh library. I just got a phone call one day when I'd done the home care Cymru conference, which was amazing. Beautiful people in Wales. See, they can make things happen in Wales, right? In England, there's loads and loads of committees for this. In Wales, there's 10 people in a room, and they just say, "Should we do this?" And they go, "Yes." And that's how it works. And that's where we're getting it all wrong in this country. So we've got this, and the whole idea of this cover is, if you look, it's based on Hilda Ogden's ducks that used to be on a wall. We call it a mural. And it just goes to show that your ducks aren't exactly in a row. And it says, "Dear Dementia," and it's using like Scrabble letters. And one of the letters is missing, one of the E's is missing. But it says, do you know, the message is, if you read around it, you can see what it says. So it says, do us a favor, take the time to find out about us. And so that little book, I'm not joking you, has gone to 24 different countries.
Was it? Yeah.
It sold loads, and I never made a lot of money out of it, out of the publisher thing, but it's now back mine. But it doesn't matter, because it's been a skeleton key to every door I've been through since. And without that little book, I wouldn't have written The Missing Piece, and I wouldn't have written Pocketful of Kindness, and I probably wouldn't have met you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, I get the gigs that I get based on my previous work, because, neither of us are speakers. We're doers who then go and talk about it, right? There's plenty of speakers in the world. Lots of what do you call them? Kubler-Ross guys. Kubler-Rossers, as I call them. The ones that have got no idea, but all the confidence. And there's too many Kubler-Rossers in the world of speaking, I reckon. So we're both doers, and then we go out and talk about it and help other people do stuff. And as I say, Dear Dementia was so I'd like to give something away.
Ooh.
Right? Right. What I've got is this. I have got massive, full, they must be will it be A3? No, they'll be probably bigger than A3. They're really big, and they're all of the book in massive print form that could be used as posters, that could be put in frames, whatever. And if anybody wants them, get in touch with Jonathan. Okay, he'll come up with some way to sort of be of use to you, whatever. And I've got
can they contact you on your website?
They can. Tell them to get in touch, and they can have some of them, or they can have
all.
That
out.
Because can I be honest, they're just under one of my units in the in my music room, and I could put some guitar effects pedals underneath.
Look, there's a couple of comments here. So we've got so Facebook user. That's because they're coming in through the inner circle.
I'll tell you what.
Fantastic. I'm Welsh.
All right, I'm going to tell you this. Right, the welcome I got in Wales was phenomenal. It was right up there with when I used to tour Northern Ireland with my band, and I turned up with a name like Donaghy, and I sang like Van Morrison. I tell you what, you soon get treated well in Northern Ireland as well. So yes, it would be great. So if people would like any of those things, I've got them, and I can get them posted out, and you can stick them in frames and stuff, and that would look really cool. Really cool and really useful. And they're all there. They're designed to either educate, motivate, amuse, or rip your heart out. Because if I don't make you laugh, or I don't make you cry, I'm never going to make you think. And that's what all these books have as a common theme. There's humor in them. There's emotion. It's a tightrope. Tragedy and comedy share such similar borders. And let's be right here. We cry when we laugh, and we cry when we're sad. So it's all got to be linked up together. And I don't know. That's what I do. I just seem to hook up. Me rolling is to hook up with people's emotions and to get under people's skin and to make them want to make things better. And by championing the stuff that's good and by calling out the stuff that's rubbish. And there's some rubbish stuff out there, but there's a lot of good stuff that people don't hear about. And And so that's what we do. So that's where Dear Dementia came about. And as I say, the whole of this book, and it features me mate Roy there. We took county, and he's the last thing in the new thing. So I did a new edition of that, and as I say, with a foreword by Dr. Trevor Jarvis, who was given British Empire Medal, and then an introduction by Angela Rippon, and that's available on my website. And as I say, same size as Mr. Man book, deliberately, because when you picked up a Mr. Man book, it felt like an old friend, and it had a moral to it. It had a reason to it, and all the people in this book are real. I've got people like next door neighbours, right? I've got my dad. I've got,
I know we love you, Dad.
I've got all manner of stuff. So yeah, so it's all good. So that was my first book, and that was 1994. And as I say, at Christmas, one company there asked for 300 of those for all of their employees because they said, we want to show them how amazing they are. So they did it. I did a completely bespoke version. And that's where I get a lot of my sales, from doing bespoke versions. I don't just give them same old. With them, they even chose to add some different pages of other things I'd said and remove a couple of other bits. And so that's what I did. I trimmed the book. I made it exactly for that.
Well, look, Ian, I know you're at you're coming to the Care Show.
I am.
On the 13th and 14th of October.
I am.
So that'd be great. Great to see you there.
Do you want to know?
Go on.
I'm going to do something all about kindness for that. I'm going to do it. But I've also got something up my sleeve that will blow people's minds. And it's going to be beautiful. I mean, proper beautiful. And it would still be beautiful with your involvement. But it's going to be beautiful. I can't say anymore. Don't, because I'm rubbish at keeping secrets. But it will be gorgeous. People will talk about it for some time, and it will be so beautiful.
Well, knowing you, Ian, it will be unbelievable. And
it won't be beautiful because of me, but it'll be beautiful because of some people. And I'll be bringing some interesting little clips of people, because I always like to bring real people on films and stuff like that. Because why should I tell the stories when I've got them? And got them on a big screen and say, I tell you what, listen to George. Yeah. And that's why the films took off that way, because people used to, I started making films for a laugh, just to use at conferences. And then someone said, who makes your films? I went, well, me. And they went, we like them. And I went, can you do this? Can you do one about this? Can you do one about that? Can you do one? So I've done, films with people like Barry McGuigan, one of my childhood heroes, and about, having the right people in your corner when you've got dementia and stuff. And I'm, as I say, making a film at the moment for the wonderful Jo Bonser. Making she's got this, she came to me with an idea and she said, my mum had dementia and I want to make a film that's kind of like a special tribute to her and to make sure that people get things right in future. And so we sat down. And I said, what do you think about these ideas? And she went, oh, yeah, we like that. We like that. So I'm spending all this week doing some pretty crazy things. That's going to be at a dementia conference in mid-September at the NEC.
I think I'm there on the 15th and 16th.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm not going to go and speak. I'm actually going to be working with Jo. And Joe's going to be doing speaking that day. I just think it's a good use of me. And it'll certainly be a good use of Joe. And we'll be debuting that film. And it features some absolutely fantastic people. And when you just watch it, you're just going to go, that's exactly what it's about. It's all about the power of food and about the power of meal times and togetherness and socialization. I cannot wait. I've got it dancing around in my head at the moment, which ain't great, but it's wonderful. I spent today with a gardening group in York talking to them, and so that was wonderful. And so really, really, really exciting for that. And I can't wait to see you back at conferences again.
Well, look, mate, we could talk all night, so I've got to shut you up at some point. But mate, lovely seeing you. Absolutely lovely seeing you.
Hold it. Don't give me lovely seeing you. I've got to tell you about this one. This one is important. Okay. Now this one's being turned into a play at Joseph Roundtree's Theatre.
Oh yeah, go on.
York in January, and we've got Mark Addy, the full Monty and Game of Thrones actor, narrating it. Okay. He's doing that as a favour, bless him, and he liked the book. This book is for anyone who's ever lost anybody. Yeah. For anyone who thinks it's just them. For anyone who's walking around planet Earth today thinking nobody else gets me. Anyone who's just in that crowd of people and thinks everybody else is better at this. I'm worse at this than anybody. For anyone who's ever lost anybody. This is a book of short stories that all last about a cup of tea each of how people have survived losing people and how to be a better friend. And this, Pocketful of Kindness, easy to write. I don't even remember writing it. It just wrote itself. I just typed. It was a joy to write. It was easy. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This nearly cost me my wife. This was 3 years, a labour of love. I took it on three beach holidays.
Ooh.
So while she was reading 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades of Blue or whatever it was, right? I was there with notepads on the beach, going out for a swim in the sea, coming up with an idea, running in, writing it down, then going out to sea again. This took 3 years, and it got to I put it down, I threw it down a few times, and then I said, I've got to finish it. I've got to finish it. In the final month, I finished it, and this came about. I got ripped off by a printer for this, and this is why my relationship with my printer now is amazing. I saw a printer on the internet, because you Google it and you don't, self-published books, printer, blah, blah, blah. You get one, lovely, fancy website, lovely. And he says, right, pay us up front and we'll do the 500 books at this price. I went, that's unbelievable. Get in. I'll have that. And he was lovely, sounded lovely on the phone. And I said, when are they ready? They're ready next Monday. They never arrived next Monday. You ring them up again. They'll be there next Monday. They weren't there next Monday. You then go through to a complaints department, which turns out to be the same bloke putting on a different voice. It turns out this company have been on Watchdog and Rogue Traders more than Anne Robinson. This company, what they do is they go bankrupt and then they come back with the similar website, but with a different name, with a different director who's the person's daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just rip you off enough so that you don't send round the boys. But if you did send round the boys, you know that they've got CCTV everywhere, right? Yeah. And you'll be the person who's getting the bother. They're appalling. So anyway, I got told to the final Monday, we were doing the book launch on the Friday, right? In a pub in York. It was going to be rammed. I get a phone call that went, oh, right, it's Thursday. So I went, right, okay. So I had the book launch at the Black Swan in York. Beautiful, oldest pub in York, or whatever. No books Thursday night. They said, oh, it's coming on recorded delivery Friday morning. Friday morning, 8:10. And then 8:30. And then I rang them up and he went, oh, no, we lied to you. Now, the problem is, I was so engulfed in writing a book about helping people. I never thought about any of the streetwiseness that I might use in the rest of my life because I was too busy thinking I was doing a nice thing.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought, I felt like Pinocchio surrounded by foxes. I thought, how soft am I? I've got a book launch tonight. I ain't got no books. I'm a pub with no beer. I'm an embarrassment. And I got onto my mates who were printers. I said, can you print books? And they went, no, we print posters. Can you print books? No, we do T-shirts. And I said, do you know anyone who prints books? He went, there's a guy called Chris Mercer at York Printer Services over in Elvington. Give him a call. I rang him up. I said, right, do you print books? He went, yeah, loads. I said, I'd like some books printing, please. He went, how many do you want? I said, well, I could do that now. 150, 100, whatever. He went, yeah. When do you want them for? I went, 7 o'clock tonight. And he like spat his tea out, right? And he just went, you are having that. He says, I'm off on my holidays tomorrow. He says, I've just come in to just up just up the place, the factory, just to make sure it's right for when I come back. And I said, and I got talking, and he heard my voice, and he went, are you the bloke who does Night to Remember at the Barbican?
Yeah.
And I went, yeah. He says, you're on Radio York a lot. He says, I've listened to your interviews and stuff. You do some nice things in town. He says, yeah, you sing, aren't you? I went, aye. And he went all quiet. I said, are you all right, mate? And he goes, how many do you need? I went, 100. And he went, for when? I said, 7 o'clock tonight, Black Swan. He says, quickest I've ever turned around a book is about 3 days, 4 days. I said, so what you saying? He says, I said, can you do it? He went, I'll tell you at 10 to 7 tonight. Right? So what he did was this. I then got the PDF from my designer to him, right? This is at like 9:10, right? And then he rings me back. He says, mate, I don't have any proper book paper. I've run it down until I'm on my holidays. I've got some magazine paper. So the first copy of The Missing Piece has like shiny paper.
Yeah.
It's like magazine sort of thing. But it worked really quite well. Anyway, he turns up the pub. They moved all the furniture out the Black Swan because it's a really small pub. And they had everybody sat on the floor for my book launch. And this guy turns up. Well, of course, he is all my intro to my book launch, isn't it?
Yeah.
This story is my intro. And the story was all about how people come to save you. And some people come to save you. If you've had somebody die in your family or had one of your friends die, some of the people who have been your best mates can become an overnight mess and be useless. And do you know what? Be fair weathers and be no good when the storms come. And then somebody can come from nowhere in your life and they can become a bit of a savior and really, really look after you and all this sort of thing. And this guy did this. He never knew me. He just heard me on the radio and thought I sounded like, you sound like a canny bloke to me. And I thought, and so he turned up with these boxes, and this is so funny. So everyone was getting a book. So he turns up with this box and he then opens the box, like I've opened the box there. And basically, here they are, these books, and they all come up. And they smell like hot scones. They're like, when people say the term hot off the press, they were warm. When have you ever picked up a warm book?
Yeah.
And so everybody's going like that, and they're going, and they went, yeah, careful you don't get ink on your face, mate. And so everybody got on. And that is why Amazon, I'm not bothered for. That's why publishers can go to hell for me. Because I've got a mate and he's become a mate,
who'll
run through brick walls for me. And nothing's too much bother. And I say, can you print 1,000 for next week? He went, yeah, of course I can. Where's it going? Oh, it's going so and so. And another thing that people have mentioned, and if you pick up your book there, right, your Pocketful Kindness, it's a nice little shape. It's a different shape to normal book.
It just fits in your,
yeah. It fits in a bag, and the illustrations, everything about it is quality. Now he said you could get it printed cheaper elsewhere. And I went, yeah. I don't want it printed elsewhere. I don't want it printed cheaper. I want it printed at that price, right? By a top man who really, really cares. And that's all that we need to do. So I've been talking about books, but what the underriding message of all this is, surround yourself with people who push you, and surround yourself with people who want the best for you and really give a damn about you.
Yeah.
And then if you give a damn about them, and if you care for them, and if you look after one another and you bring out the best in one another, that's life sorted.
Yeah.
And that's all we need. So it is such a buzz talking to my mate without a ukulele in his hand. That's the pleasure. Either you don't have it. And by the way, if you think my house looks nice, who the hell has neon lights in their own home? Neon lights in his own home.
The little hello sign.
Look at that. Timmy Mallet never even had neon lights on Wackaday. Goodness, it's like, you know, it's like Saturday morning children's telly. So I tell you what, Jonathan, I'll just say this, mate. The work you've done over lockdown, you've been a diamond in a world full of coal. When the world was stopped, you tried to keep it spinning and you were giving it a good old try. And I know that there were people who really needed you and were nearly going to go under. And I tell you what, they didn't. And it's pretty cool to be a life preserver. And I tell you what, mate, you did some great stuff. You're going to carry on doing great stuff. And it's just really pretty. Now, we could have recorded this and we could have trimmed it all down, but I thought, no, sod it, let's make him work. Let's make him work. You know, I actually thought, let's give his missus some peace. Do you know what I mean? So I've given her 45 minutes of peace.
You did well, mate, actually.
You know, so that's it. So I tell you what, I was about to say this. I'll see you in September. I'll see you in October, right? And at some point, I'll bob across and see you over there, Bonnie lad, because you run an interesting, exciting. You do things different.
It'd be great to see you. Get you in the back of the rickshaw.
I'd love to see you sweat there, sweat running down your back that day. I'll tell you. So absolute pleasure, Bonnie lad, and I will see you very soon. Oh, by the way, all these books. So that's Dear Dementia. Hold on, I'll put it there. Dear Dementia, The Missing Piece, and A Pocketful of Kindness are all available from bigian.co.uk. And another thing, if you want a batch of them, you can have them with your logo, your company logo, bespoke on them. Just send me an email and we can get them done. And you can get them done at no extra cost. No extra cost.
That's really nice of you.
I can sort that out. Well, no, I love the way I say I can sort. I do now. I hand it over to Chris, the printer. I just send him a logo. I said, do us a favour, sort them out, Chris.
That's because you pay him extra now, mate. You could have got it cheaper.
I could have gone cheaper, but he's top drawer. So as I say, everything's available. And if you want an entertaining speaker anytime, and you know you can get me in. But if you haven't got the budget for that, give Jonathan a ring. Give Jonathan a ring. If you want someone a bit smaller. Which way? I point that way to get to him. Fella, all the best. You take it steady, yeah?
Mate, lovely seeing you. I'm just going to bring you out into the green room briefly. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic night. He's a real good mate. We absolutely adore him. These things are absolutely bloody diamonds. They're the best reads. I love it. I love Ian. And we'll see you very soon at time of the Care Dementia show at the Care show later on in October. Be good, be kind to each other, and we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.